After almost 20 years of TIG welding production, people ask, do I still dip and destroy tungstens? Spoiler alert. Yes, I do. My name is Dusty, and I've been TIG welding in the industry for almost 20 years now. My YouTube channel is for the positive people in the welding community who love TIG welding as much as I do. So join me on my mission on my channel, and let's get welding. This is Pacific Arc TIG Welding. We're gonna keep it simple here. I've talked about this on my channel before, and I actually did an episode about some pretty common reasons why people dip and destroy their tungstens. That episode is right here. It's in the description below. Check it if you haven't seen it already. But the saying that I always go with is, it doesn't matter if you dip. What does matter is what you do after you dip. A lot of the time, people dip and crush tungstens. And the actual mistake is not dipping and contaminating the tungsten. The mistake is usually continuing on with that same tungsten or not addressing why it happened in the first place. For sure, when you dip a tungsten, either clean it off or swap it out for a new one. If you want to attempt to clean it off, here's how I go about recommending to do so. You see this plate here? This is what I call an ashtray. If I crush a tungsten, I have an ashtray nearby. It's just a piece of scrap, that's it. All I do is I arc up on that ashtray and basically run an arc without filler material until the contamination burns off and starts to run clean again. This way, if you are going to use the same tungsten again, when you go back to your workpiece, you will mostly have burned off a lot of this contamination. Obviously, I do not recommend doing this. I always recommend, even if it's a quick touch, I got a big pile of tungstens prepared, ready to go right there. If I touch it on an art piece or something I'm doing for YouTube here, I swap it out for a new one. Even if you clean off a tungsten completely, get it back to its original running appearance, you are still gonna notice differences with the arc control. Your startups are gonna be a little bit weirder. Things at low amps are gonna be very strange and not handle the way that they would if it was a brand new tungsten. And especially if you're doing anything work related that needs to be run for a test, serve some kind of important purpose, don't do it. If you dip that thing, just swap it out for a new one. There are days when I get into work and it is like I have never welded before in my life. I don't know if it's lack of sleep, too much coffee, whatever it is. There's days, even after all this time TIG welding, I crush tungstens. But I have zero tolerance for working with any kind of chance of contamination. If I smash something, I'm gonna swap it out for a new one. I clean my cup every time. I check my gas screen, or if it's bad, I just swap it out for a new gas screen or a gas lens. I want the most control to every arc that I do. And on a day when things aren't going so well to start with, I need to do everything to help myself out I can. So the other thing I'm gonna think about is, why is this happening? Because I'm having a morning that's obviously not going that well, I'm gonna take a look at why I'm dipping. There's days when I actually take a step back and look at the way I'm set up and I'm wondering what the heck I'm doing. I'm set up with bad posture. I'm set up doing something stupid where I can't see it clearly, especially on joints that are a little more difficult. You gotta compensate for this by being set up even more intelligently with the way you're gonna be able to see things in the event that you may dip. Give yourself a break. If you're having a day where you're dipping, there is a reason why you're doing so. As a matter of fact, I get so many questions on this subject, I kind of feel like I need to do this episode every 3 months or so. Anything we can do to help ourselves out. So again, check out that episode if you haven't seen it. It addresses all the reasons as to why these things are happening. It gives you an idea of how to break down what's happening and fix the problem. Go out today and do a random act of kindness for a stranger. If you're an arc head who watches the show every week, leave a dime in the comments below. I love seeing those. For Pacific Arc TIG Welding, my name is Dusty. Phil and Chill, we'll talk soon. Peace.